Welcome back to another episode of Kingdom Hearts. I'm Mar, and today, we finished this. So you may notice my stats look a little different. That's because there was a power surge in my house, and what I've been doing is, this is on PS4, so I've just been rest moding between episodes. But then there was a power surge. It had been a while since I saved, so I redid all of that, and in doing so, switched around my equipment a bit and spent a little bit of time leveling because, well, why not? Can you stop doing that, please? Thank you. Oh my gosh, do a different attack, please. This one's so annoying. It's annoying mainly because you can't deflect it, so like it's just a damage field in front of him. But anyways, so yeah, I did a lot of fun stuff, and that fun was very sarcastic. I like this game, but I really did not want to have to, like, it took hours to redo. It'd been a while since I saved. Also, if you notice damage numbers being a little bit different, that's because I equipped a whole bunch of EXP boosting stuff, since I now know that, you know, I kind of need to hit level 90 because I need second chance. Anyway, so I am level 88 now instead of 71, which I think is what I was before. What I got from the leveling up that mattered, was I got a second MP rage, so I get MP back faster. If I fight something that's on the ground, I may have already done and just been distracted, but I have this new move called Vortex, which just, like, instead of doing Sora's, crappy little lunge move, pretty much anything at the same range I do a spinning slash towards instead, which is better usually. It's a nice AoE move, which is good. I have a combo finisher called Blitz now. I'm not actually sure it's any good. It's ground only though, so you won't see it against this guy because he's flying too much for me to really get to use it. I'm gonna walk away from him. Just gonna walk away, and he isn't there. Which way are you spinning? This way? Okay, cool. But yeah, so let's see. You know, I'll just go through my most recent abilities when I get out of here. But I didn't get anything too important. Let's put it that way. I also got another tech boost, which is equipped because I want to be getting as much XP as possible. Hey, Hades, do you mind losing now, please? Honestly, like, I've got other things to do today. Do you have to have this much help? But yeah, as a result of having switched to XP stuff, you might notice my stats are, despite being like 13 levels higher, not actually higher, aside from my HP and MP. That's because all the XP stuff does is put up MP. So, you know, that's what I have. I'm not getting any strength or defense from my XP boosting stuff, so. But on the other side, on the other hand, I do have XP boosting stuff, so there's that. You know, real benefit. Yeah, so the nice thing is I found a really nice fast way to level, which surprisingly wasn't on any recommendations.
That's the power of the keyblade.
Like the recommendations I were finding were at best half the speed. So that was kind of weird. Not sure what that was about. But it's to I think I mentioned it when I originally fought the gosh darn it. Nice thing about counterattack is you can just sit here and just counter them, and as soon as they are hittable, you hit them.
Nothing to it.
But anyway, I think I mentioned when I first fought the Ice Titan that one of the ways I used to level was, you know, off of the Ice Titan using Tech Boosts. Because since you have Tech Boosts in Final Mix, they're really handy for that. And I remembered correctly. I actually did the math. I was getting, I didn't bother doing the math down to XP per minute, but fighting the Ice Titan without XP boosting stuff, I was getting about 20,000 XP for every 4 to 5 minutes. And the next fastest was about 12,000 XP in that same amount of time. And, you know, the main reason for that is that there's not really another good... Yeah, that's right, you're out of health, you jerk. It doesn't change anything, they still just kind of disappear, but hey, I got them out of health. But yeah, because there's just not any good access to the things that, if you know what you're doing, give the best XP in the game, which are the blue mushrooms that you bounce. You get more XP every time you bounce them, and if you know what you're doing, they give really good XP, but it kind of requires that you know, be able to get quick access to them, which is why they're slower, because if you're finding them in the wild, then you have to get them to respawn, and that can be a pain, because they're a rare encounter. Even with Encounter Plus, they're rare, so there's not much you can do to make that faster. Whereas the Ice Titan is, you press a button, it's always available, instantaneously. Because the only other place you can fight the blue mushrooms is in the tournaments, but even then you have to go through all the menus to select the tournament, and then go through the fights leading up to it, and then exit the fight, and it's not faster than just trying to find them in the wild. And finding them in the wild, you get more of them, so. But yeah, overall, I just found Ice Titan to be the fastest. I did a couple quick experiments, and part of it's that I know the Ice Titan fight really well. Like, Ice Titan is not the fastest way to level unless you know the Ice Titan fight. But the Ice Titan fight also isn't particularly hard, and I feel like pretty much anyone could learn it relatively quickly. Oh, screw you. You will pay for going invulnerable. Those who dare to make themselves invulnerable will find themselves on the receiving end of my Keyblade as soon as they are vulnerable once again. And you can't stay invulnerable forever. So, yeah. That's how, it's what I did today, pretty much. Was get that figured out. Because being behind, or being without the ability to record really sucked, so.
Nothing to it.
Yeah, had to fix that, and the only way to do it was to catch back up. Which sucked. It was not a good experience. Do not recommend. Yeah, not really much else to say about that. An interesting thing I never realized because I never really paid much attention to it, but I think in Kingdom Hearts 1 there are damage limitations on enemies. Like, I've gotten more strength but I still only take out the wizards in 2 hits. So I feel like there might be a certain point after which getting more strength just doesn't matter, because you have an enforced maximum damage of some kind. And I feel like I've read something about, you know, strength beyond a certain point not mattering in Kingdom Hearts 1. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was true. It makes it so that way you can't just one-shot everything. Which, you know, fair. I don't want to, but I get it. I understand. I think the weird thing is, like, now that I'm playing just Kingdom Hearts, instead of switching between it and Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'm a lot more like, yeah, I could just keep playing the Kingdom Hearts games. Whereas before, because I was playing 2 games of that kind at the same time, I was like, oh no, I need to take a break and play a different kind of game. But I'm not playing less of this kind of game, like, I'm just not splitting that time between 2 games, and that's a really interesting, like, because the difference is internal, right? It's in how I'm thinking about it. It's not in the actuality, because like I just said, I'm spending the same amount of time playing that kind of game, right? Maybe I just like Kingdom Hearts more. Probably, actually. I will say that the Kingdom Hearts battle system, especially in Kingdom Hearts 1.5 versus the original, where it got the touch-up for the menu touch-up, which it desperately needed. That is like the biggest, that's in my opinion the biggest difference between normal Kingdom Hearts and 1.5. It's not the graphics or anything. It's just the pure difference in quality of life that the menu gives you. Because the menu in the original Kingdom Hearts game isn't terrible, but man, it definitely makes combat harder. Whereas this is much better, it's much more streamlined, and it just functions altogether better. Wait, I was low enough for that to kill me? What? Oh right, lower defense. Huh. I forgot. Well, that's awkward. Wait. I have to remember. Wrong thing. There we go. Got Thundergun now. It'll be a little faster. Anyway, whoops, there we go. So, you know, that was a few minutes wasted, but hey, that's not the worst amount of time I've wasted, right?
Thunder!
Probably not even the worst amount of time I've wasted today. Gosh darn it. Life is pain. Become vulnerable again already? Thank you. Next fight, please. I think that oh, there was something I noticed earlier while playing this that I think made me like realize why I like this better in some ways than like one of the little targeting things that makes targeting in this more comfortable than in Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's that when I'm not targeting anything, like it's hard to create a good example. It's just something that kind of organically happens. But so, you know, when I have the little brown reticle, I have a target. But there are times when I won't have a reticle at all. And at those times, if I hit the button to lock on, like right there, I didn't have a target selected, but I locked on to the nearest target anyway. it just defaulted to locking onto the nearest target. And that works a little differently from the way it works in Final Fantasy VII Remake. In Final Fantasy VII Remake, I don't recall ever not having a target, so it always has you set to a target in combat, which gives you less control over the camera. That's actually one thing I really like about this game, is whenever I'm not locked onto something, I have full control of the camera. And part of it is that there's a fair amount of time in this game where I want to just be moving. I almost never want to just be moving in Final Fantasy VII Remake. So navigation in this during combat feels smoother to me than navigation in Final Fantasy VII Remake during combat. And it's because during combat in Final Fantasy VII Remake, there's pretty much never a time when I'm just running without pressing one of the other buttons, because attacking is almost always my fastest way to get to anything, because running is painfully slow. Which makes, so all of those commands, all of my attacking commands are done with my right hand, right? Like, you know, that's X button, that's all those. So again, this is a controls thing. Because all of my stuff is like that, and there's never any clear breaks where I don't want to be pressing buttons, I never have time to control the camera even when it is under my control.
That's the power of the Keyblade.
Which leads to me not using it as well. It makes it feel clunkier to look around. And it's something that this neatly avoids in a couple of ways. One that they both have is, you know, there's some lag time at the end of combos where you can't, you know, start attacking again. So during that time you can look around. It's not long, but it's the one that both games share, and it's more noticeable in Final Fantasy VII Remake because their lag on, well, everything is longer. It's a slower, more deliberate combat system than this kind of fast-paced hack and slash. Oh, finally. Second chance obtained. I'd just like to point out, if I had second chance, I wouldn't have lost that fight earlier. I just would panic, but I wouldn't have lost. But yeah, so like the way, so the major way that this does it is by making running around not frustratingly slow. Like, if you notice, that is a key difference. I spend a significant amount of time just running, and while it is, yes, faster to dodge roll, I don't feel like in normal gameplay I'm losing much by just running around. And that is a distinct difference from Final Fantasy VII Remake, where normally moving in combat is the absolute slowest way you can get anywhere except for rolling, because rolling has a little lag on the end of it. It's a very interesting thing, like, because I'm almost certain that what happened in development is they were like, oh, we should make the spaces bigger for X reason, who knows which reason they did it for, probably so that way they can include more enemies or something like that, or because it felt cramped with, or it was too easy for Cloud to be hitting everything. Whatever the reason, they made the spaces in it bigger, which is something they've been doing in every Kingdom Hearts game too. They made the spaces where you fight in bigger. And I think part of the one of the unintended side effects of that was running felt slow. It didn't feel like you had a good way to get up to your enemies. So they gave you some attacks that let you get up to your enemies faster. which was good, and they also had all the AI keep relatively close to enemies, so that way you wouldn't ever... Sora, please. So that way you wouldn't ever have to go too far to enemies. That's probably what the rationale was, and all of that's actually really good. The problem was they never actually adjusted the run speed for the size of the game. Out of combat, they give you sprinting, which feels a lot better, but in combat, you feel so slow when you're just running around in that game. And now Kingdom Hearts handles this by giving you glide and things like that, and also just in each game, as the spaces have gotten bigger, Sora just got the ability to run faster. Presumably excused by the fact that he's older, grows, and has longer legs, I don't know. Or just is more fit or something. Like, he gets faster with every game. I know I already won, but I feel like styling on this dude a little bit, you know? But so it's definitely, hey, got Donald, save the queen. Not want to start over, no thank you. Okay, let's do a few things. First, we're equipping Second Chance. Anyway, also my abilities were Treasure Magnet, MP Rage, Blitz, Tech Boost, Vortex, Combo Plus, and Second Chance. Those are the abilities I have gained. And let me be clear, like, I've talked a lot about what's good and bad in the Final Fantasy VII remake combat system, and I just want to express that overall I did like the combat. It was just rough around the edges.
Here.
Good job, Donald. You really helped. Yeah, Vortexes. Let's see if I can get it to do it. That attack. Assuming you could tell which one I meant when I said that. Okay, so I have 20 minutes, which is 1,200 seconds, and I have 50 rounds. What's 1,200 divided by 50? 120 divided by 5. Doing math while also playing a game is too hard. I'm just gonna hurry. I'm just gonna assume the answer for how fast I need to be is fast. It's more than 18 seconds. I know that because 18 seconds is the usual, and normal tournaments are 10 battles, and I have 3 minutes, and that results in 18 seconds. So yeah. But yeah, so 120 divided by 5 is 24. That's how many seconds I have for each, which, you know, I then have to save enough time for the boss fights, which particularly Rock Titan and Hades are going to be super long. Particularly Hades, since he has long periods of straight up invulnerability that I can't do anything about. So, you know, every second I save is good. Okay, easy peasy. But yeah, I really think that that with each part, the Final Fantasy VII Remake games will get better, because Final Fantasy VII Remake was their first attempt at doing a slower and more deliberate live-action system. What I mean by that is So Kingdom Hearts is a very fast-paced system. It's reaction-based. And, you know, you're not really thinking much about what you're doing at any given time, unless you're thinking about what patterns a boss or a specific enemy has. But that's about it as far as thoughts while playing goes. There's not really a whole lot of strategy here other than knowing when it's okay to be attacking and if a boss has any particular weaknesses, which is a relatively rare thing in Kingdom Hearts games. It's primarily reaction and gameplay based. It's execution of gameplay based strategy. Aside from a few exceptions. And that's fine, like, that's a perfectly valid kind of game to have, you know? Like, it's a good kind of game. Hack and slashes are great. And then if you look over at something like, Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns, which is the next, live-action game that Square's made recently. That I could think of anyway. Good job, Donald. Keep doing that, please. Shower them with lightning. Go forth, Donald. I believe in you. Please keep that up. Oh, let's speed up this thing. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Anyway, so what I was saying is Lightning Returns was the next one, and it was more about preparation and then reaction time within your preparation. You know? You prepared by having the right equipment, and then from there it was a lot more like a reaction time based game. You know, it was very button mashy. You didn't have a lot of options in combat. You have a lot of options outside of combat. And with Final Fantasy VII, they're probably going for something more like, it's a good equivalent. Maybe Dragon Age? I haven't played the games myself, but from what I've heard about their combat system, it'd be pretty similar to what they were going for overall with this. And okay, let's just beat up this guy real fast. Yes, be visible, please. That way you're invulnerable for less time. There we go. But anyway, as I was saying, so like the big thing here is that life is hard. No one understands. No. The big thing here is that Final Fantasy VII Remake was still working out the kinks in a very new battle system of a variation that they hadn't made before. You know, it's easy to say like, oh, they've made an active time battle system before, but I mean, technically, Overwatch has an active battle system, but like, you wouldn't at all pretend that it's anything like a hack and slash, and you wouldn't really say that Dark Souls is designed the same way hack and slash like Kingdom Hearts is. Yeah, there's similarities to use swords in both, but like, you know, just because swords and magic exist in both systems does not mean that they are at all designed the same way in both systems. It's things like that. Like, yeah, they've made hack and slashes and other active combat systems before, but nothing like what they were trying to do. Final Fantasy VII Remake. So like I really think that with every one of them they'll get better. And we will fight Cerberus next episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.